Welcome to our podcast. What happened this week?
You guys won't see, but this is probably take 5.
I don't usually start the podcast, and I don't really know the
You're not
the
here
agenda.
every week?
I'm just here to enjoy the ride.
All right, cool. Yeah, another week, another podcast, another opportunity to embarrass myself.
Yep.
See if I seize the moment. And speaking of seizing the moment, I did a post.
Oh, that's right. It was really good.
Yeah, if you don't follow us on Instagram, you should. And off the top, subscribe and like this video. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I put up a post on Sunday just talking about Coco, and like those that have been with us from the beginning know that that's a movie that we tie closely to Royce, right? Like we put the Remember Me song on his headstone. And the reason is because it was his favorite movie, right? Like he'd always, like that was one of his first words that he knew.
Yeah, he just first thing in the morning, want to watch Coco? So out of nowhere, Fletcher decided he wanted to watch Coco.
Well, it wasn't out of nowhere. If you read the caption.
To me, I did read it, but to me, it was out of nowhere. I was like, you want to watch Coco? And sometimes you would ask, but Jane would be like, no, not today, because it kind of makes us cry a lot. And so,
kind of.
So I do remember him listening to it on one Sunday or one day on the record player, and Remember Me, I think, came on, and I started tearing up, you know. And so he asked to watch it, and I said, oh, okay, go ask Dad. So he goes over to you, and I think you actually let him watch it. I was surprised. Yeah. But ever since, he's been wanting to watch it every day.
Yeah, I just had this moment of like, he likes to pick a record. He'll come in and say, I choose one, and then I'll pull out some records, and then he gets to pick one. And I usually just pull out the Disney ones, right? And I would always leave Coco because it's like there's like a case, right? And I'd leave that there because I didn't want him to pick that one, obviously, right? But there was like a best Disney hits, and it has Remember Me on it. And so that started playing. And before that, each song I would say, who's singing this? Because on the record cover, there was like pictures of all the characters, and he'd point at Pumbaa, or he'd point at one of the Disney characters. But the Remember Me one, he was like, who confused? Like, is it this one? Is it this one? And so finally I was like, oh no. Like, because I also felt bad that he didn't know. Right. You know, like, he didn't know that it was Coco. And I don't want to shy away from him knowing things about Royce or having a connection to Royce. So, yeah, I put it on, and he, like, loved it. The whole record, like, and he still sings, Remember Me.
Yeah, and he'll grab Jaiden's little ukulele, and he likes to pretend that he's Miguel.
Yes. But I had this moment where I was like, oh, I'm going to sit in here and just cry. And I had a meeting, like, I think right after that. So I was like, I can't really, like, get too messy and emotional. But I actually felt good. Yeah,
I like watching it. It's, like, fun to rewatch it. I never get tired of that movie, maybe because it does remind me of Royce. But I've enjoyed watching it every day. And we have pictures of Royce around the house, and he'll say, is that brother? And it's just really cute that he's starting to understand a little bit more, and that he does love Coco, because it just makes him feel like more connected.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I just wanted to post about it, and just because I felt like there's others who are earlier in the like process of like maybe they've lost someone. And I just wanted to show them like there will come a moment where things that like wreck you and really trigger you will then become, a moment of peace, and like where you can feel joy, right? That you're able to experience it. And like, it's those little things that matter along your grief journey. So if you're going through grief and you're feeling that way, know that it does get better. Like, it's always going to be horrible, right? But the the pain of every single thing, there's improvements there, right? So, and we had a little fun day yesterday.
Yeah, Fletcher has never had an ear infection ever. And so yesterday he kept complaining that his ear was hurting. But, it was like every once in a while. And he had taken a bath, and so I thought maybe he got some water in his ear. But then all of a sudden he fell asleep on me, and then he woke up and he was just really like, he was crying and he couldn't like open his eyes all the way. Like he kept saying it was bright. And then he kept rubbing his head and he started running a fever. And so we took him to the doctor and they said he has an ear infection. Poor guy. So they gave him some medicine, but this morning he woke up and he was so excited. He said, "My ear doesn't hurt anymore."
Yeah, he was stoked. He came in the bedroom. He's like, "Dad, look, my ear doesn't hurt anymore."
Yeah, he was so excited. So it was really sad though, because I've never seen him so, like, he's been sick, but I've never seen him so like lethargic and just like in pain.
Yeah, and I feel like now, like ever since the whole Royce situation, whenever like it's just an ear infection, but I get really like on edge, and like my mind just races.
Yeah, and just checking his temperature every 2 seconds.
I know.
He didn't sleep well. Poor, like I think he was just hurting. But eventually, we were giving him medicine, and eventually he was able to get some sleep. But it was a sad day yesterday.
Yeah, it was. All right, let's talk about something happier.
Okay.
What do we got on the docket, Taylor?
Well, we have this week, we are going to be reading some comments from our Reels and our YouTube video from last week. So referencing the stay-at-home mom and working dad conversation from a few weeks ago, this guy says, "Stay-at-home dad here. I'd rather do this than go to work, but it's a hell of a lot harder than any job I've ever had."
I agree with that.
That's a good way to put it. It's like, of course you'd rather be home with your kids.
Yeah, because I feel like you find more fulfillment in it,
Yeah, totally.
And I also enjoy the fact that, like, I'm not on I am on Fletcher's schedule, but, like,
he's your boss.
Yeah, he's my boss, but I also kind of have more, like, freedom to do the things that I want to do, and I don't have to, like, go to work,
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and like you said, it's a hell of a lot harder.
Oh, it's really hard. Yeah, but at the same time, it's also a little bit less freedom because, like, I can't just go, like, get my hair done or get my nails done or do something like that. Like, I'm constantly thinking about, what's Fletcher up to? What's he doing? What does he need? Like, is he okay? I feel like you're constantly thinking about someone else. And if you have multiple kids, you're thinking about multiple people all at once and everything that they need. And so I feel like that it gets kind of draining.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of what the next comment is saying. This person says, the real question is work 8 to 5 really what is being considered a full-time job, 40 hours a week? And if that's what men out here are considering their full-time gig, they're needing to decompress from. Meanwhile, the stay-at-home moms are carrying the mental loads for multiple people and pets and households outside of themselves for 98 hours a week. If we are clocking us doing things only 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., no weekends off, no nights off, like...
Yeah.
and when are we lounging? It's never peaceful or enjoyable. Because we know no one else is doing the laundry, dishes, or meals, and everything else is waiting for us the second we are done. While we decompress, everything around us is usually going to shit if we aren't actively on it 24/7.
Yes.
Let's go.
Snaps.
If I've never read a comment that made me want children less than I already do, or have a household.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. There's never
it's not a break.
Clock out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The only time really I feel like is why I really like the nighttime is because Fletcher goes to bed and I can finally just like not think about what he's up to, like I can just sit there and be mindless for a minute, you know? And I think that's also why I stay up so late is because I don't really have time to myself throughout the day. So I feel like that's my time to really like be truly by myself.
Yep. Nope, I agree.
All right, next comment. I think it depends on the job too. I'm an elementary teacher. Being a stay-at-home mom is way easier in my situation.
You're babysitting a bunch of other people's kids.
I can't think of a worse job. I'm sorry.
They need to be paid more. Teachers have so much on their shoulders. They're literally teaching the future
and imagine
children.
This, you're a teacher for a kindergarten nurse.
Yeah.
And then you get home and there's more kids at home.
Right.
That's a bad...
My personal hell.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it like that, but yes. Okay.
Looks like this is the last one. Being a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job, but so is a regular job. Both need breaks. It's hard to come home from work just to be told to keep working. But sorry, guys, you got to do it. Find another time where you can get a break. It's not fair that my husband gets a whole weekend off of work while I don't. So we make Saturdays his day off. So we make Saturdays his quote-unquote day off. He has priority to work on projects and take time to himself if needed, and I get my day off on Sunday. He runs the ship on Sunday. He decides when it's breakfast time, when it's nap time, he makes dinner, etc.
Oh,
that's a good idea.
That's kind of how we run ours. Like we split a lot.
Yeah, we split a lot of stuff, I think. So, I mean, obviously during the day, I feel like Jade's working. He still helps though when I'm in the shower or
when
something.
You're showering, and Fletcher
always decides he needs to go number 2 and needs a wipe, and it's usually like a disaster while I'm showering. But yeah, I feel like usually after work, Jane's really good about helping, and then on the weekends, we both really just kind of tag team it.
Yep. Love it. And if you want to join the conversation, be sure to leave a comment. So we pull these from Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and we appreciate the comments. Like we literally read them, and we'll even talk about them. Like, oh, look at this person, look what they said. Like, it really does help with the podcast as far as feedback, right? So be sure to leave a comment on this video, as well as if you're following us on Instagram or TikTok, leave us a comment there.
Yes, thank you, everybody. That is all for the comments. Another note we have here is there was a situation we were kind of talking about that I want you to expound on more, that is sending roses to spouse to see if they are cheating. What's the story here?
So, I was a little nervous before our flight. And I'm like, I need to find something really good to watch. And I have this weird, I don't even want to call it an obsession. I have this weird, like, intrigue with people that, like, ruin their lives. Like, I don't know why. Like, being there or, like, seeing that moment of, like, they just ruined their life is, like, crazy for me to, like, watch and, like, experience.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the show, Taylor, but To Catch a Predator.
Hell yeah, I love Scott.
Like, that would, every time I watch it, I'm just like, this is crazy. Because their life will never be the same.
It is crazy. I love that show so much.
So I'm on TikTok before our flight, and I see this video where it's a radio station. And what they do is they take submissions from people who think their spouse is cheating on them, right? So, and they'll pick. So then they get the person on the phone, they say, why do you think he's cheating on you? And they'll usually say, oh, because he's been coming home later in the day, and he like hides his phone, or there's signs that they think their spouse is cheating, but they don't know. So what the radio station does is they grab the phone number and the name of the spouse, and they dial them on air. And
while the spouse is listening.
While they keep the spouse on, they say, mute your phone. We're going to call your husband and see if we can get to the bottom of this. So they call him and they say, hey, Jerry, is this Jerry? And they, yeah, who's this? And they'll be like, we're from Roses, USA. And we're a new company, so we're trying to get our name out there. So we are giving away a dozen of long stem red roses to anybody who will answer 2 survey questions for us. And usually the other person's like skeptical, like, what? You're just giving away roses? Yeah, it's a marketing thing. And so then they'll be like, sure, I'll do it. And then the 2 questions are like, have you ordered roses in the past 6 months? Have you ordered roses, or are you planning on ordering roses in the future? And then when they answer that, they say, awesome, you've passed the survey. We will now deliver your dozen roses. We can deliver them anywhere in the U.S. Who would you like us to send these to? And this is the moment where the husband is either going to send it to the spouse, their wife, who's on the call.
Yep.
Or it seems like most
Their
of
mistress.
them send it to like a mistress. And they'll be like, okay, who do you want to send this to? And let's say the spouse name is Mary Smith. But they'll be like, let's send it to Christine. And like the radio hosts are always like, and they'll be like, what's your relation to Christine? And he'll be like, it's complicated, a girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know? And then she'll say, okay, we do something different. In lieu of a note, we send an audio message as a text message. So at the tone, say what you want to say to the person. So then they're like, I love you, baby. These roses are for you, you know? While the wife's on air.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, great, she'll get the roses today. And then the host of the radio station, the guy, will then jump in. And we'll be like, hey, buddy, I have one last thing to tell you before we let you go.
Yeah, your wife's been on the line this whole time. And she just heard you send flowers to some other woman.
Yes. And then there's always just like silence.
Yeah.
And then the guys usually are like, who is this? What?
It's a funny show, but sometimes I question whether it's real or not because, one, I guess maybe I'm thinking of myself. If some random number called me, I, one, wouldn't answer it. Two, the second they said, we have a survey for you to get free flowers, I would be like, click, this is a scam.
But we were talking about this with my mom. She loves radio.
Yeah.
And she was like, but then they just don't air those.
That's true.
Because these are all pre-recorded.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're only airing the ones who answer.
Yeah.
So maybe they like go through like
a
20
ton.
before one of the dudes actually agrees.
Yeah.
Right? Plus, I don't know if a radio station has the budget to like get these actors and like have the logistics to do that. So I don't know. But yeah, a lot of them, it's just funny. I don't know. I've like just seeing the dudes realize they're caught.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have this weird.
But then again, I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking of myself. But I feel like the second they said your wife's on the other line, again, I'd just be like, hang up. But they always stay on the line. They're like,
but then the wife talks to him.
Yeah, I would probably say, I'd hang up.
Billy, why are you doing this?
Billy.
And then the guys, huh? And then what's crazy is the radio host is like, "Okay, stay on, Mary Smith. We have a lawyer in case you need one."
For like a divorce?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So they already line up like these lawyers.
That's crazy. That is it's a good scheme, like flowers.
Yeah.
Who you want to send them to.
But so I saw these ones, they were naughty boys.
Right.
No good. And then there was this one, the lady was like 60. And she's like, he's flirting with all the waitresses at the casino. I know there's something up. And so he gets on and it's her husband. He's like, has that sweet old man voice, you know? And he's like, you'll send me roses?
Oh.
And they're like, yeah. And he's like, that's awesome. And they're like, who do you want to send it to? And he's like, my wife of 30 years.
Oh.
And then he just went on this, they made him do the audio message. And he's like, I can't live without you. You're everything.
Oh, that's so cute. But what was my other question? Like, what if they
and
said...
the host was literally like, she was like, tearing up so bad, was like, I can't even talk because this is so sweet. And then the wife like unmute herself. She's like, I love you, Jerry. I love you.
That's the thing. It's like, will they actually send flowers if they decide to send it to
They
the
do.
wife? Oh, I was gonna say because that would really because otherwise the wife would have to explain like,
Yeah.
oh well, actually,
I know, and she said that, and it was so funny because then at the end she's like, "You're really getting it tonight, Jerry." Like, and the hosts were like, oh, "What?"
That's so funny.
So, anyways, it was just something funny I saw that I can't stop watching them. They're too good. There's so many of them too, and it's in like Chicago.
That's so funny.
That is crazy.
Anyways,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
you should. It's so good.
I would love that. All right, guys. We are going to skip We're Not Really Strangers this week, and we're going to play a different game.
Ooh.
So if any of our listeners are following us on Instagram, you saw on our story last week, we had a bunch of things that you could vote on, what your pick would be. So our polls, yes. And I'm going to read them to you, and you guys have to guess which one they were leaning more towards, and I have the percentages that were voted upon.
So we got to pick which one we think is most popular
Yes.
among our listeners.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And how many are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. So we have to get 3 of them right,
Or what?
or there's a consequence.
Do you know what the consequence is?
No, I'm trying to think of one.
Okay.
We have to get on Instagram. On the story, we have to post our worst pictures on the
No, I
story.
don't like that.
Okay?
Oh, I would rather post my worst picture.
Okay. Worst picture, most embarrassing picture.
Okay.
If we don't get at least 3.
But
Okay.
everyone else we get to pick the worst picture though.
Okay.
You don't get to pick your
I
worst
probably
picture.
deleted all my worst pictures.
No, I've got a good one. Remember from
me?
the cruise?
All right, let's get it
Of me?
rolling.
I don't even remember. Oh my gosh. Was it when you like zoomed way in?
Okay, let's do
Okay,
it.
don't mess this up.
Okay.
All right. So first one is listening to a book versus reading a book.
Oh, frick.
Okay, this is actually kind of hard.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
a
like-
hard one.
Which
like
one
nowadays-
do you
It's
think?
most popular.
Yeah,
like
which one do you?
listening. I'm gonna vote
It's 50-50 here.
We have to agree.
Okay, well, that's my...
We have to talk. Why do you think listening to a book?
I just feel like
I don't
nowadays,
think so.
nowadays people are busy doing other things, and I just feel like it's hard to sit and read a book unless you're on vacation. So I feel like people listen to books while they're driving or while they're doing other things.
I agree, but I feel like people want to say, like, I do it the classic way. I'm trying to get into the psychology of the voting. Like, they probably don't.
So is the question, do you listen or read, or is it do you like to listen or read?
It just says listening to a book versus
my.
reading
versus
a book.
reading a book. I think it's reading.
All right, we'll go
personally.
for reading, but if we lose, you're the only one that's supposed to bad picture.
Okay, is that your final answer?
Yeah, final
You're picking
answer.
reading a book.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Too late.
5.
Lock it in.
4. It's
Okay,
locked.
locked.
You are correct.
Oh.
68% of voters said reading a book.
68?
68%.
Oh, good thing we listened to your
Liz,
watch.
I told you. I know our listeners. They want to be like, no, I like the hard cover.
Did I get that right, Meg? I just saw you highlight it. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. I was just making sure.
Okay.
Okay.
And if we both can't agree on something, then you guys know.
Yeah.
Never mind. We'll just have to agree.
Yeah,
Yep,
we'll
you
have
have
to
to- you
argue
have to
till the
agree.
death.
Okay.
Okay. Next one is folding a pizza and eating it, or just keeping it flat in your hand.
Flat.
You think most people keep it flat
Yeah.
rather than fold it and take a
I
bite?
feel like if I ever see people eat pizza, they don't fold it.
I'm a folder.
Oh, I'm a folder every time.
Get
I
that
fold
thing-
that thing so tight. I origami,
Are you sure?
seal the bottom.
I've eaten pizza with you before. I feel like I haven't seen you fold it.
I fold it.
Okay.
I will say, this is sacrilegious. I'd rather eat a pizza with a fork and knife
I've never seen you do that.
than you don't know me.
I think you don't know yourself.
Linz, you don't know me.
Jaiden, really?
Yeah.
I've never heard you say that.
How would you know how I eat? You'd actually have to give me some attention.
Really, Jaiden? You want to go there?
Anyways,
You want to get back into this?
no, I fold.
You don't fold.
But I think most people They don't want to say they fold because they get harassed. Like
I just think most people just keep it flat.
Okay, flat.
Okay, you're picking flat. That's you're locking in the
I
answer.
don't know Taylor's reactions.
75% of your listeners do not fold. Not fold.
You tricked me. I thought you were gonna say.
No, I thought you picked folding.
No.
Yeah, we picked flat.
You picked flat?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I got confused. Okay, you're correct. You're 2 for 2.
2 for 2. We only
Okay.
need
One more.
All right. Eating only the cake versus cake with frosting. So does this mean they scrape the frosting
They're
off?
frosting
Okay, so what do
scraper.
our listeners prefer? Eating only a cake?
Well, if I answered this, I would say I only eat the cake, but I feel like most people like the frosting.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like most people have like frosting.
You think?
That's what I think.
I don't know. I feel like people eat the frosting.
Taylor's loving this, seeing before we know. All right.
I'm going frosting.
Frosting?
Yeah.
Okay, frosting.
Cake with frosting. 74% of listeners
All right.
say yes.
We're good. We don't
Oh,
have to
really?
We
Yes.
don't have to post our worst picture.
I think we go double or nothing here. You have 2 more.
Double or nothing.
We have 2 more, and you have to get at least one of the next 2 right.
Okay.
Are they
I'm
hard?
in.
Wait.
I'm a gambling man.
Okay, Jaden's in. I'm out.
No.
No, you guys have
Okay,
to
that's
be
fine.
in. Come
That's
on,
fine.
those are
That's
easy.
fine.
You
I
guys
guess I
breeze
don't really
right
get
through
embarrassed
those.
anyway.
Because the
We
next
know,
2,
we know you, listener. We know
the
you.
next 2 are a little more difficult. So
Okay.
I think we gotta go double or nothing here.
Okay.
Okay. Number 4, when you go bathroom, do
Okay.
you wipe from the front or from the back? What are the
Bro.
listeners voting here?
Can I just say something?
This was a question?
Careful what you say. You might shame a lot of your listeners out of here.
This is poo-poo wipe, right?
Poop or?
Poo-poo.
Poo-poo wiping.
Because everyone poo-poo wipes.
Okay.
That's true.
Not everyone pee-pee wipes.
I don't understand the logistics of a front wipe.
Yeah, I'm going to go back.
Ethan is a front wiper.
But how?
I'm just saying, one of your...
What do you do?
I don't want to talk about it on the pod because
What do you do?
I don't want to get bullied. So
Are
not,
I'm
you a
gonna
front
say-
wiper?
I don't want to talk about
I'm
it.
going to say back.
Taylor, are
I
you?
don't-
Jaden,
I don't feel safe
don't
admitting my
force him to
wiping
answer the question.
to you. Especially based on what you're saying right
Can
now.
I ask you a question then, knowing you're a front wiper?
He didn't say yes or no, Jaden.
Okay, theoretically, how do you not get poo-poos on the acorns?
Oh my gosh.
You just
What is
don't.
happening right now? Just answer the question.
Hypothetically, a grown man knows how to not do that.
I'll say I've never wiped from the front in my entire life.
Yeah, I think they teach that not to wipe.
Oh, now
Back to
Lindsay's
front?
shaming Taylor.
I'm not shaming. I'm just saying I feel like they teach you have to wipe front to back.
Maybe if you have lady parts.
Yeah, it's true because you can get infections
Meg,
and stuff.
thoughts?
She's like, I'm staying out of this one.
Oh my
I think
God.
most people will wipe from front to back.
Yeah, they go from the back.
So they wipe from the back. That's what
Yes.
you're locking in.
Yes, lock
Yeah.
that in.
Nope.
No way.
52% of voters voted wiping from the front.
How many?
52%.
52.
2%.
You have to get the last one correct.
Jaden, what have you done?
There's more
52%.
There's more of us out there than you think.
Wipe
From the front.
from the front.
Well, this question maybe actually is posed a little.
You
It
think it was
says-
a bad poll?
It says, because on here it says wipe from the front or wipe from the back. And
Because you're supposed to wipe front
because
to back.
when I think of it, when I hear this question,
That's what I thought.
I think wipe from the front meaning from the front.
Yeah.
And
I
wipe from the
thought-
back meaning from the back.
Yeah.
But maybe
I
there was
thought
some
that meant
confusion
like
here.
wiping from front to back.
But it doesn't say front
Instead
to
of
back.
back
It
to
just says
front.
wipe from the front.
So what do we do?
I think you guys just lose that one, especially because it was almost 50-50, so the people might have been confused too.
Okay.
Okay, you have to get the last one right.
But people wipe from the front.
Who knows? We don't know anymore.
Lindsay really wants to move on. Okay,
Yeah, I
go
do.
ahead.
Because Lindsay's trying to save me from you bullying.
Yes.
That's just crazy.
Just let people live
Do
their
you have to
life.
Go
Cheating.
watch the episode where Ethan talks about it.
Do you have to
I'm a grown man. I know how to not
hold?
I don't know. I'm not a man.
I know. Ethan said the same thing. I'm a grown man. I know how to not get poop on my stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Now that that's over. Last one. Sleep cuddled up, like all cuddled and spooning and whatever, or barely touching at all.
Barely touching.
Yeah, it has to be barely touching,
Yeah.
unless we have a lot of listeners that are like
In the newly
first
dating
year
stage.
dating, which I don't think.
I'm going to say barely touching.
Okay, barely touching.
Locking it in?
Yeah.
Yep.
That is correct.
Yes.
67% of
Let's go.
listeners said barely touching.
Oh, thank goodness.
No posting ugly pictures for you guys.
Sorry.
You dodged the bullet.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to the news. First bit of news here. Mr. Beast's reality show to award $5 million grand prize, sorry. It's the biggest payout in TV history.
Wow.
Mr. Beast, the renowned YouTuber, has announced Beast Games, a new reality competition show on Amazon Prime Video, offering a $5 million grand prize, which is said to be the largest payout in television history.
How
Wow.
much was Squid Games?
The show, for which Mr. Beast will serve as host and executive producer, will feature 1,000 contestants in a high production competition.
1,000?
Although its premiere date has yet to be announced.
1,000.
Contestants?
You know how many that is?
It's a lot.
That's probably why he's giving away $5 million.
I think this is going to be awesome.
How do you apply?
I
Did
don't
they already
know.
select the 1,000?
I don't know.
Who knows?
But I like Mr. Beast.
I do too.
I think he's pushing the envelope. Is that the word?
Mm-hmm.
Pushing.
He does
the-
give away a lot of money, which I think is cool.
Yeah, like I feel like he's doing it different, you know, and like
But sometimes the way he goes about it is a little... I don't know. I did like the episode where he got all those dogs adopted. And he would
Yeah.
give away
100
like,
dogs he got adopted.
I think he did like, and each one got like a lifetime supply of dog food. But there was that one where the guy has to like protect that Lamborghini or whatever it is. I'm like, they're just wrecking a Lamborghini for fun because they can. I don't like that.
It gets them views.
Yeah.
And movies destroy cars all the time.
Yeah.
what are you
good
talking
point.
about?
Good
In 007,
point.
they destroyed like 5 McLarens.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I saw a little clip of him. He was on the Colin and Samir podcast talking about this specifically, and he was saying, like, he's putting everything into this show to make it work. And because he did his own Squid Games. And he's like, take our budget, everything that we put into that, and like times it by 10, and that's what we're doing for every episode.
Wow.
And he said Amazon Prime is like giving him full creative control.
That's
Like,
cool.
they're like, you just handle it, you take care of it. So I'm really excited. I think this is going to be, we love game shows.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to join seeing the stuff he does on his YouTube channel.
It would probably be rough.
Yeah, I'd rather do The Amazing Race.
The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
For your measly 1 million
Yes. I'd have
that
more
you have to split.
that I get to travel the world with.
No, I think it's going to be awesome. I'm
Yeah.
all about it.
Hell yeah, Mr. Beast.
Yep.
All right, last piece of news. House advances bill threatening TikTok ban over Chinese ownership concerns.
I saw that.
The U.S. House of Representatives has passed legislation that could impose a nationwide TikTok ban unless the Chinese parent company ByteDance divests its ownership, citing national security risks due to potential data access by the Chinese government. The bill, which now heads to the Senate for consideration, reflects growing tensions between the U.S. and China and underscores bipartisan efforts to address perceived threats from Chinese tech entities.
I don't know. I'm torn.
Well, I feel like this has already happened. Didn't Trump say he was going to shut TikTok
Yeah.
down?
I don't think, regardless, in the end, TikTok is going anywhere.
I don't think so either. I
Like,
think
there's no way.
they're just trying to bully the Chinese people into giving them some control of TikTok.
Yeah, and I get, like, because China doesn't allow, like, any American tech companies to operate in China. Like, I don't think they can have Facebook or Instagram or any of that.
In China?
I'm pretty sure.
Why?
Because they're I don't know what kind of political party,
Communist?
but, like, and
Are they communists? Did I just make that
I think
up?
there's a Chinese Communist Party.
The CCP.
Yeah, but, yeah, I think, obviously, I don't know. Whether it's China or the U.S., we're getting spied on.
Yeah, I saw
You
this
know.
funny I saw this funny meme. It was like people saying that TikTok needs to be shut down because they're spying on us, and the meme was like, let me make this clear. I do not give an F because they don't care that people are spying on them. They just want to watch TikTok videos.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but like business-wise, we have spent a lot of money and time and like resources to build our TikTok.
Right, and a lot of people make money on TikTok that I feel like it might hurt their income.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much. I'm sure only like really big TikTokers make a good amount of money on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know.
I feel like it's a silly thing to be so, I
Like,
don't know,
focused on.
Yeah, there's more pressing matters, I feel like.
I agree. So, I don't know. I think in the end, TikTok's going to be around anyways. So, whether they sell it to an American company or...
But and again, I honestly I don't really care whether we have TikTok or not because, I mean, we have Instagram Reels, like or on Facebook. You can watch videos the same exact way. It's just on a different platform.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way,
Yeah.
we'll be fine.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen.
Yep.
That's the end of the news. We're doing a new segment today called 5 Deep Questions. We're going to read these questions and chat about them.
Yeah, can I tell you where these came from?
Yes, please.
So I was scrolling, speaking of TikTok, I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw this TikTok. It's like a carousel TikTok. And it was like 5 deepest questions. Is there 5 questions?
There's actually 4.
4 questions. 4 deepest questions. And then I was like, these are going to be lame. And then I swiped through.
And they were actually good.
And I was like, these are pretty good, actually, as far as what I've seen. So I thought it'd be fun to go through them instead of the We're Not Really Strangers.
Okay.
All right. First one is, if you could, would you rather spend a day with your younger self or older self?
And let's do a caveat. Like, if you spend time with your younger self,
When?
you can choose when.
Oh.
What you say to them will, like,
Affect
what happens today, if that makes sense. And then, obviously, me with your older self, that will affect me now and will affect the future. So, what are you picking?
I think I'd rather hang out with my older self. Just because I feel like, not to get too, like, deep with it, I guess, but I feel
That's
like...
the point of this.
I know.
4 deep questions.
I know, but, like...
I don't want to get too deep.
Right, but, like, when I first... Like, for instance, when Royce passed away, like, I was really struggling with the future. Like, I honestly didn't care, you know? I didn't, like, think about anything else. Like, the future just seems so, like, non-existent. Like, I didn't care what happened to me, basically. And so I feel like I'd want to see the future just because I feel like it's a lot of unknown. And it's just kind of daunting to think of, like, you have to do this, and this for the rest of your life. Or you have to, like... So that, I think I was feeling that way because I felt like I was going to feel that pain that deeply for the rest of my life. And I didn't want to feel that for that long. And so I feel like I want to see where I end up in the future just to know that, like, I'm okay and I make it.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah. You feel like you'd be more comforted?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what if things didn't go well. You know?
Then at least I know.
And your older self's like, man.
Well, I feel like
buckle up.
But right, if I know, then at least I can prepare for those things.
It's true.
And if I'm in a bad situation, maybe I could like fix some things now that could put me in a better situation in the future.
Yeah, I feel like the payoff would be greater
Right.
meeting your older self.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think older self too. And just like you said, figuring out like, what should I do?
Yeah.
You know, what should I change about myself? Like, what's your regrets?
Mm-hmm.
What should I avoid? I think those things would be valuable.
Yeah.
So, deep. All right.
The deepness.
Yeah. What about you, Taylor?
I would probably go younger self.
Oh,
Yes.
how come? Just to give
I don't know.
some...
Just like you guys are saying now, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not necessarily the type of person that like lives with regret, but I just think there are things I have done along the way that I'm like, damn, I wish I would have done this instead, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
So,
both could benefit your future, you know?
I would just be, I think I would be very careful of letting on too much. Like, because then I think it would ruin your past self and they would be hyper fixated on doing the right thing. So I would be probably kind of vague and just say like, okay, I kind of learned this the hard way, man.
Yeah.
You just try to avoid like this.
Yeah, I think what would worry me about meeting my young self is not being able to contain information.
Yeah.
You know, like if I could go back and meet my younger self and tell him about Royce to avoid that all from happening,
Right.
I couldn't turn it down.
Right.
I would 1,000% give the information to my younger self to avoid that. Wouldn't you say?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's like, what if that was just part of everything?
Right.
Right? And like, then I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think I would be weary of that if I was talking to my older self. I'd be like, I might even say to my older self, like, okay, bro, we gotta go easy here. Like, I don't want to be.
Well, I don't want you to tell me every little thing.
I don't want to be tripping, but like,
Yeah.
can we get some highlights? Just a couple things, maybe.
Yeah.
Make sure you invest in this.
Yeah.
This is
Like,
who.
does Bitcoin go or
Like what? Like it would be a couple things, and maybe like if there's any big ones, sure. But I don't need. You just be thinking about it way too much. You know.
I know. That is true, because what if your older self tells you something really bad?
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
true. And then you're just
That
like,
happens.
Don't go to Japan on that trip.
Then your
Yeah,
whole life
that's
you're just going to
true.
be fearful of you
Yeah.
not
both
correcting
both
that
have
course.
pros
Yeah.
and cons, I feel like.
This is a good
Yeah,
question.
that's a good question.
Wow. Okay.
Hell yeah. Okay, Harry has a question.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm like a logistic thinker.
Yes.
So if you have to pick, you said you can pick the age of your older self. What if you like pick like 50-year-old you?
And there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you just get?
Harry!
Do you take the risk? And do you just
I
not?
thought of that, but didn't want to say it.
Do you know what I mean? I'm just opening a can of worms.
I did not
like,
even think about that.
You're like, all right, 5 years from now.
and you're like, where?
yeah, and then
there's
you're like,
no one there.
yeah, but that's it. Your chance is gone,
That's a good
and you just have
point.
to live knowing that you die in like 5
That
years.
is a great point.
That's crazy. Anyway,
Yeah, I did think of that, but I was like, that might be too much.
yeah,
Yeah,
probably a
but-
bit too bad.
That's true. It's like, how far do you push the age?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You say like, I'm just going to push it to 75 and
Hope that I'm there.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
know, or do I hedge my bet and do like 55
Yeah.
and just hope I made it to at least
That's
55?
a good point. I didn't even think about that.
If you're traveling to that time period and meeting your older self, and you're not there, then you could go to your headstone.
I thought of that.
I don't
You
know
just
if I would,
appear
but
and
would
you're
you
at
want
a
to know?
headstone.
Do you think you would
I
want
guess
to
you
know
might
when you
appear there.
die?
And then you see your death date with no context.
I don't think I would want to know when I die.
Yeah, that would be very traumatizing.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, that would be rough. Oh, Harry,
But
that's
also,
too
like,
deep,
at least
man.
you can prepare.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
Oh
you could
my
like get your
gosh, no.
finances.
Imagine that morning, though.
the amount of Oh yeah, honestly.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Do you tell? Do you tell your loved ones?
Well, the
Like-
night before that morning, I'm throwing a massive rager for sure. So everyone's gonna know.
But then what
you
if
max out
but
all
then-
your credit cards?
But then what if the cause? Yeah, what if the cause is the
Party.
Too much party.
This is it's like they talk about in Endgame. There's different types of time travel, like, you know, it's a loop or it starts a new timeline or whatever.
Yeah.
So does you going to the future and seeing when you die start the new
That's a
timeline?
good point.
Or can you go back and
So let's
fix
say
it?
your knowledge of you dying that day, you go and you park in the hospital parking lot.
And then
And
But
then
then
let's say
what
that
if-
day passes.
But then
Then what? And you're like,
you just
I didn't
rewrote
die.
your future.
well, then also goes to Harry point. You miss your chance. You don't know what happens in your future now.
Have you seen Final Destination or any of them?
No.
Death always finds a way. I'll leave it at that.
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I like that question.
it's
That's
a
a
crazy
good one. That's a
question.
good, like, what do you call those? Like a,
Icebreaker? I don't
no,
know. Is
like
that
a
an
party.
icebreaker? A what one?
A party trick.
Party trick, sure. Everyone's like, whoa, dude.
That's a weird trick.
We thought you were
man.
going to juggle or something and you're busting out some deep stuff.
All right, next deep question. If someone offered you a box containing everything you've ever lost, what would you look for first?
What is? Does that count people?
No.
Oh.
There's just a person in there.
I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
no. I've got one.
Okay.
It was Christmas morning. I was like 12,
Yeah.
11, something. And I really wanted this CTR ring.
Uh-huh.
And I asked my mom for it. And Christmas came around, and guess what they got me?
A CTR
A
ring.
CTR ring.
For those that don't know what that is, it stands for choose the right.
Choose the right. I really wanted to choose the right. And I was like, oh my gosh, thanks, Mom and Dad. Put it on my hand. I was like, they're like, does it fit? And I was like, I think it fits. And went like that. And it flung off my finger, and I never found it.
You couldn't choose the right after
Damn.
that.
And that whole day I was praying, please help me find this. And my sister, she felt so sad, my older sister, and was helping me look all Christmas Day. And we could just never find it.
Mm-mm-mm. That's what you would look for first?
I don't know. I don't really have anything else, but
Okay.
I just remember that.
You know what? The first thing I actually thought of when that question came up was I had to go to my soccer game. I was young. I was probably 8. I don't remember. But I could not find, for the life of me, my soccer socks for some reason. And I really needed them for my game. And again, I was praying so hard, like, please, I really need these for my game. And I never found them. And I was so mad. So that was the first thing I thought of.
There you go.
And I can't really think of anything else I've lost
Me
at
neither.
this point.
Yeah, just that ring and
Yeah,
soccer socks.
my soccer socks.
That's cool, man. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of anything else.
I know I don't really feel like I've lost anything that significant.
All right. That was good.
Actually, can I confess something right now?
Please do.
One time, Carrie was visiting California. We went to the beach, and I had a bunch of cash with me.
Our cash?
Yeah. And you had given me some cash to spend, and you gave me $100 bill,
Oh,
and I lost it.
oh, Lindsay. You better pull that out of the box right now.
That's what I would look for first, the $100 bill that I lost.
You're kind of known.
That's the only time I've ever done that.
No, you've lost.
I think Jaiden needs to find those batteries that he lost. He literally just bought 100 pack of batteries, and he has
you
no
threw
idea.
them away. You're the queen of
I'm
throwing
not.
everything away.
Jane thinks I throw
you
stuff
threw
away.
away remember when the president was like, everyone gets free money?
Yeah, and guess
And
what?
sent us a check.
I
and
didn't throw it away.
Ended up in the garbage.
It actually didn't because I found it.
And what happened?
And we cashed it.
No way.
Yes,
man.
we did.
All right.
You know what I was
what's the
thinking
next
today?
one?
I wonder if I put those batteries somewhere weird.
Why would he?
You don't have to take ownership.
I
now.
started
It was Lindsie.
I started gaslighting myself. I'm like, I think I actually checked in your office in a couple spots. I was like, did I put them in here?
I honestly have no idea where those batteries would have gone, but that's what Jaiden needs to look for because we need those.
All right.
Go ahead.
Before I out myself even more from gaslighting, if you could know the absolute truth to one question, what would you ask?
The absolute truth. Okay, go.
What happens when you die?
Because you stole mine.
Because you know what? That's the question that everyone wants to know the answer to.
It would solve everything.
It would solve everything. That's why religion exists.
It would solve everything.
It would solve
everything. You would know your purpose.
Yes.
You would know what happens.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it would bring a lot of comfort with Royce.
Right.
Unless
nothing happens, and then I'd be sad.
The lights just turn off.
Yeah, and you're done for forever.
Oh,
that
please,
would be sad.
no, please.
That'd be fine. You won't even be there anymore.
Taylor, no. You
That's
don't
true, I
understand.
guess,
But you have nothing to be sad about if that's the case. It just means you're gone.
I do. The whole Royce thing makes it hard. You know, like...
Because we only got... Like, that would be sad to know that we only got that short amount of time with him. And that was it. You know?
That's it.
But I just feel like, you know, when I was in Mexico... They were talking about, we went and visited the Mayan temple, me and my sister, and they said that they told the people, like the poorer people, that their job was to like build these temples, and they had to be poor and live this way because the harder they worked in this life, it would put them further ahead in the next life.
It'd pay off. Right.
So then this guy is like the king or whatever, and he has this big mansion that he's having these people build for him, and they think that if they work this hard and follow all these rules, they're going to be just like him at some point, but they don't know. Like, that's just what people tell you to get you to do stuff for them or pay money or do whatever.
So let's say you ask the question, what happens when you die?
Yeah.
You get the answer. Do you tell people?
Yeah, I would.
You would? You start a church?
Yeah, churches make a lot of money.
That was actually what my answer was going to be. I was trying to think of what question I could find the answer to that would make me rich. And I didn't even consider that.
It's true.
And you don't have to pay taxes.
You're double dipping then. You're telling the truth.
You're telling the truth and
no
you're
taxes,
making a lot of money.
and you get the muns.
Yep.
Unless it's just nothing.
Right.
Then you'll make no money.
Yeah,
no
that's
money.
true.
But, like, I keep going to sports, but, like, if you could find out who's going to win March Madness this year...
You could make a lot of money.
Then you just put every dollar you own, like take out a huge loan, and just put every dollar you own on that. Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd be so rich.
Cool. I like that one too.
Okay, last one.
Last one.
What sentence destroyed you, but you acted like it didn't hurt you?
I don't know. Okay, I'll be honest. It really hurts my feelings. Luckily, it rarely happens, but I really don't like to be told to shut up.
Okay. That destroyed you?
I just don't like it.
And you acted like it didn't hurt?
Yeah, because it's a common saying, but for some reason I just don't like it. It's just rude to me, and I don't like it. And we just weren't allowed to say it growing up. It just feels disrespectful.
Wow.
But again, other than that, I feel like no one's really ever said anything that like killed me, you know?
Yeah.
What about you?
Huh? I have to answer?
Yeah.
I think, okay, let me think. So many. I feel like as a kid, I was a little chancho.
Okay.
What does that mean?
I was fat.
I was fat.
And and when kids would say you're fat,
Yeah, that's sad.
I'd be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, in
You're
the
right,
inside.
that is sad.
I did care, bro.
Yeah, it
When I
hurts.
was little and I was husky. I mean, I still am kind of, but that
and I would go home, and I
hurts.
remember I was crying. My mom, like, kid called me fat. And my dad's like, no, come here. And I go there, and he's like, the next time that kid calls you fat, you're going to take your fist, and he bunched up my hand. He's like, you're going to punch him right in the face.
That actually brings up a good point. I would like to know people's thoughts.
Well, let me finish my story.
Sorry. Go ahead.
And I was like, okay, Dad. He's like, okay. So the next day, there was this one kid. Every time I'd go to school, he was like 3 grades older than me in elementary. And every time I'd go to school, he'd wait to bully me. He'd be like, oh, little fatty. And would like noogie me.
The hell?
I know. So I knew he was going to be there. And so I'm walking, I just see that guy. And he's standing under the tree, and it snowed. And under the tree, there was like no snow. And he's a kid, so he's like, step in the circle of death, fatty.
Oh my gosh.
And so I stepped in, and he ran to grab me and noogie me.
And you punched him.
And I just freaking decked him as hard as I could in the face. And he just fell back, and he landed on his back, and I just jumped on him, punching him. And then one of the parents walking their kids to school like tackled me off. And I just stood up and I just ran home. I didn't even go to school. And I show up and my mom and dad are in the kitchen and my brothers are there. I'm like, I freaking punched him. And I was like crying. I'm like, I punched him. And all my brothers were like shaking me like, yeah, Jaiden, you did it. And then my dad drove me to school and the principal yelled at me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
But I will say,
he never bullied you again.
that kid wouldn't even look me in the eye.
That's what I want to know people's thoughts on, because we watched a show called what was it called? Something about parenting, and they were trying to figure out the best parenting style. And one of the things that they talked about was like, what do you do when your kid's getting bullied? Like, how do you handle that? And one guy brought up that, one of his coaches told him, if someone's bullying you, you just need to punch them, basically. And they won't bully you. And you just need to stand up and but then some other people were saying, well, that just kind of perpetuates the bullying or the violence or whatever. And then that can create like school shootings. But
oh, geez.
To me, well, that's what
sorry. I was not expecting you to go.
Well, that's literally how they brought it on the show. They said this could create violence and create more school shootings. But to me, I feel like the kids that get bullied and don't do anything about it, and it just keeps happening and happening and happening, and it drives them to a point where they're just like, I cannot take this anymore. So, my dad always, like, if I was playing soccer and there was a girl that was kind of getting like too rough or something, he'd be like, why don't you just like push her back or like punch her, basically. And I feel like that's kind of what I want to do with Fletch.
Ooh.
Like, I would rather teach him to stand up to a bully because you hear so many stories where like someone's getting bullied and they tell somebody and it just gets worse, or the teacher doesn't do anything about it. So I would rather, I feel like the solution, at least that I feel like, is if you stand up to a bully or you like show them that like their bullying doesn't really get to you and you're gonna like punch them, I feel like that stops bullying rather than just letting it happen,
I think so too. Like, I don't know the repercussions of that kid. I don't know what he's up to now. But as far as me, my life got much better after I stood up for myself. And like, even like other kids that were kind of bullies, like they're like, well, then I'm not going to mess with Jaiden. He's going to punch me, And like, and I remember like, there was a couple of times where I had to do that. I had to stand up for myself. And it got easier to do so because I was confident then of like, yeah, you can bully me, but I'm going to make sure that your life's also hell, And like, it did create an environment for me where I was like, okay, no one's going to call me fat anymore. They know they're going to get punched. So I don't know.
But obviously I feel like there's lines that you can't cross.
You obviously don't want to be the bully where you're just punching everybody.
But I'm like, if someone's going to like instigate, I'd rather instead of, I don't want to teach them to be an instigator, rather like if someone's going to like try and fight you, like you fight them back,
Yeah. Yep. I don't know how others feel. I'm scared to say anything.
I know, me too. But again, that's one thing I worry about, because I just feel like kids can be kind of mean. You just never know what a kid's going to be. You could be bullied for literally anything. And I just know that can create like a living hell for kids.
Yeah, the timid kids got hell.
Yeah, so I just feel like that's something I worry about with Fletcher is I just really don't want him to feel, I don't know, I just don't want him to be bullied. I don't want him to feel like, because you're so young and you take everything so personally and like, I feel like everything comes crashing down so easily as a kid that I just feel, I don't know, I'd rather him enjoy his childhood rather than be scared of like what other kids are doing, you know?
Yep. We take a break from this podcast to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Why We Dream Productions. If you're sitting there right now and you own a company and you're thinking, the marketing's not where I want it to be, our brand isn't growing like it should, reach out to us. You can go through either our Instagram page, just DMing us, or just reach out on any of our pages. If you'd like more information, we market for a wide range of businesses right now. And every one of them, our goal is to bring them tangible results. We don't just post just to post. We really strategize with our clients to try to build a story and tell their story in a way that benefits their business. So if this sounds like you, please reach out to us, DM us on Instagram, and we'll just send you the information. You can look it over, and if it makes sense for you, we'd love to work with you. But back to the episode.
All right, guys, we are on to our submission from this week. What are the challenges that come with Fletcher after losing Royce?
We may have talked about this before, but we are helicopter parents, which I don't think we were that way before. He's very timid when it comes to like being adventurous, I would say, and I don't know if that's just his personality or if we created that. Because like he'll get stuck on the bar stool and he's like, I need help getting down, you know, and I don't know if it's because we were like, don't get up there, like it's scary, but it's like after we experience, you know, like a freak accident with Royce, it's like every little thing we were so worried about. And so that's kind of been hard, and I do feel bad sometimes for Fletcher because I feel like maybe he could feel a little bit like suffocated by that in the future, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes it can be sad, I feel like, thinking about what life would have been like with Royce and Fletcher, and I just don't ever want Fletcher to feel like, you know, our grief is kind of like overshadowing or like coming, you know, showing up too much in his life.
Yeah, I would say on the good side, I love Fletcher more. Like you know, you don't know what you have until it's gone, right? And like that's how it is with Fletcher. Like I literally like any moment I have to like hug him or like hear his voice, like little things like that. I really do like take a moment to like take that in, that we have that, you know, because when Royce passed away, he was our only kid. And so we lost that, you know, and he wasn't at an age where we were able to hear him speak full sentences, right? It was just one word. So like just hearing Fletcher's voice is like such a gift, you know, and such a like something I'm grateful for every time, you know. But on the flip side, you know, the downside is just our anxiety and like, you know, but sometimes the anxiety fuels my love, you know, like I cherish putting him to bed, but at the same time, every time I put him to bed, I get anxiety and I'm very fearful because he's by himself in his room and like, you know, I can't watch the monitor all hours of the night and like, so that side of it's hard, right? But I think we will love more and we'll be more like, as long as he's here, that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
You know, and whatever personality he has or interests, it's like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
all I care about is that he's here and I have more time with him, you know. So so yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I don't know if you have any other input.
No, I think that's exactly my thoughts as well. So
Yep.
Awesome, guys. Well, we are on to our last piece here.
Awesome.
We are going to settle our debate, going from something sweet to let's put up the fists and go to war here.
And I don't even know.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is either, so maybe it's not that bad. But
Okay,
here we
we'll
go.
see what it is.
Okay. When you get married or move in with your partner, should you keep separate bank accounts and split the bills, or should you do one bank account that pools all the money and pay bills from there, and both of you use that account?
I mean, I guess from our
Interesting.
experience, we just joined bank accounts. I'm pretty sure I joined his bank account before we even got married.
I think you did.
Because that just makes more sense to me. I feel like...
Yeah, because it was hard. It's hard to know, like, well, how much money do you have? How much
Right.
money do I have? And, like, all right.
It's like you're both living in the same house. You're both, like, basically using the same expenses. The only thing I could think of is, like, personal things that maybe...
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen this on TikTok, actually.
Oh, really?
A lot of people debating this, where they'll do the carousel thing, and, like, it's like they pose this question, and then when you swipe, it's like, you just pull it together, silly goose.
Yeah.
Don't complicate it, you
Right.
know? And, like, people say like that, but from conversations I've had with, like, those around me, it seems like most of them don't.
I mean, I could see pros and cons to both, but I mean, we were so poor when we got married that it didn't
Like,
really matter.
every dollar we had to
Yeah,
have pooled.
so it's not like we had a bunch of money that each of us were bringing to the marriage, so it's not like it really mattered either way to us.
And what we've done now is we've pooled our money still. Like every dollar goes to one place, but then Lindsie has her own account and card
Right.
for free money.
Yeah, because I don't work, and so I don't, obviously, so it's not like I can just be like, oh, well, this is my money, I can go spend it on
Yeah.
whatever I want. So I get like a certain amount of money that I can just spend on whatever I want to spend it on. I can save it and spend it on something big, which I feel like works for us, because then I don't feel like I'm just spending all this money on stuff that, you know, I don't need.
Yeah.
And I feel like it works better that way. But I think my sister, I don't actually know how they do it, but they both have their own jobs. I know their house is under one name, and they seem to do fine with that.
Yeah. I don't know. Thoughts, Taylor?
Meg and I have everything separate. So we just split, you know, bills that like rent and everything. And
Like, you just pay it separately, or do you say, like, send me rent money and then I'll pay
no,
rent?
we just send it separately to our landlord, my sister.
So it makes it a little easier.
Yeah, so it's a little easier that way. Grocery hauls, if one of us, sometimes I feel like we switch off. It's not as talked about as much. Like, I'll buy a big grocery haul and then Meg buys one, or sometimes we'll send the other one money to, like,
Yeah.
I
You
don't
ever
know.
run
I
into
feel
the
like
issue where it's like, we were spending more on groceries through my account. You need to do more, spend more on yours.
I don't know. I feel like we do a pretty good job of, like, I got it. Like, it's my turn. Right? Wouldn't you say?
Even if it's a lot, like, I feel like we kind of view it like we both, like, we kind of view like we have the same bank account. So, like, if I spend $200 on groceries and he only spends $50, I'm not like, it's not like we're actually roommates. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I try to keep track. Like, if I know Meg just spent $200 on groceries, either I'll say, like, let me send you $100, or she'll let me know how much she spent on, like, you know,
Yeah.
a birthday present and groceries. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll send you some money. But sometimes I like to just handle it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like sometimes I'm just like, I got the groceries this time or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
just because I want to be nice.
Yeah.
And I think, and Meg will do that sometimes too. And, but I feel like we do a pretty good job of, like, tracking it in our minds. But and then
But let's say like Meg's short for car payment.
then I would definitely
Then it's just like,
help her out.
Taylor, I need some extra cash.
Yeah. But Meg's a frugal planning queen. I've never known Meg to run out of money. She works hard and grinds to keep that bank account.
I mean, I could see like if you both were like if you both.
Yeah,
had
I guess
jobs.
we haven't really had.
Yeah, because like I mean, we've worked. Bradley Royce was both ours. I mean, other than that,
True.
I've just stayed home.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and if I do get like a tiny small side job, like that money's mine.
Like, that ain't going towards
Yeah,
the bill.
sorry, Jaiden. That's my money to spend on whatever I want to do. But it's usually only like it's not much. Like I would walk dogs, and I would make like $75 to $100 a week. So it's not like that was really making a dent in our bills anyway. But
Yeah.
that was just because I wanted some extra cash to spend on stuff that I wanted to buy.
Yeah.
I will say though, I've always just kind of thought that like if we ever get married or whatever, then like that would be a good time
Yeah.
to merge. I
'Cause
don't
then
know,
it's
I don't know why I think that. That might just be like baked into me from being a kid, you know.
Yeah.
But then I have friends. One of my closest friends has been married for 4 years now, and him and his wife still don't have
Really?
a shared account. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how my sister is.
That's just crazy
So-
as far as logistics.
Yeah, I don't really know how they do it. I just know.
Like house payment,
Yeah.
like your mortgage.
I don't know. I haven't asked a ton of questions. I just know they do that. And
Yeah.
one of my friends, he's divorced now. I would always see him and his ex-wife when they were married Venmoing each other on the feed, like.
I feel like I see that too.
And I would just thought,
What are they Venmoing?
like groceries,
Yeah.
rent.
Oh, kind of what you were talking about.
Yeah, but
That's crazy.
and Meg and I do that. It was just weird to be seeing it because they were married, and
Oh, I
also
see.
I keep my Venmo. I don't like people seeing what
Yeah.
I'm
No,
paying.
private. Yeah.
And so I thought that was weird on both of those levels. Like, first of all, you're married, and second of all, why
Yeah.
am I seeing your
Yeah.
grocery payments to your wife? And
Yeah, because the issue is like when we both were working when we first got married, my income alone didn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like we had to pool it in order for the bills to even be paid.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like just logistically way easier. Right? So I don't know.
I just know that
I
Meg's
just feel like
coming over the
whatever
mic.
works for you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like eventually when you get married, you like might as well. But right now, if there is like a slight chance that we're not together, there's not so much, you know,
Yeah.
there's not another thing.
That's interesting. Yeah.
There's not like, not that we bank on that, but like there's not another thing that we'd have to separate. Like we'd already have to move out. Like we've already done like a lot of commitments. So it's not that it's necessarily that, but it's more just like, yes, they're technically separate, but I know if I ran out of money and couldn't pay for my car, that Taylor would help me pay for it. And he wouldn't be like, so remember in March when I gave you those $300? Like, I'm going to need that back. Like,
Right.
we don't really view it like that.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't.
Instead of one person, like, never once have either of us been like, so I bought this and you didn't buy this.
This
you know,
is kind
like,
of stressing me out though.
It's not like...
Because it's like.
It's not like the way I am with like my friends in college when I would be like, hey,
Yeah.
dude, like
Right.
I went and got the birthday
You need
gift
to pay.
for
Yeah.
Carrie. Like, Carrie?
Yes.
That's all I can think of. I was gonna say Carol, but I have no friends named Carol.
Carol.
But if I'm like, hey, I went and got her a gift
Right.
and it was $75, so can everybody pay
Yes.
me 25? Like, it's not like that because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I love my friends.
Okay,
but like
so-
we're more of a
Right,
team than
yeah.
like me and my
I
friends.
have some questions. When you go to dinner, who pays?
I feel like we do it like groceries. Like
Just kind of switch off.
But that's so.
that one, we'll never split dinner. Usually, like
But that-
one of us will just pay.
Like if Taylor got like
But how do you decide?
because usually Taylor
switch
buys like the
off.
concert ticket and then we go out to dinner and I try to buy dinner. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that
and
stresses me out. Of like, so are you paying
Well, I feel like
this? Am
it's-
I
I mean,
paying
we've
it's
been
like
this?
doing
if you've
this-
been
we've
together
been
and you're
doing it a
comfortable
long
with each
time.
other, it's not that hard to be like, are you
You or
paying?
me?
We've been
Yeah.
doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
Or like you stop to get gas? Is it like?
I feel like if you're in a relationship that like that, I feel like you don't really care. You're like, all right, it's your turn to pay for gas.
Yeah, like we drive Meg's car to work mostly because it gets better gas mileage. And so I feel like she probably puts gas in it more because she'll drive it without me. But I always try to, like, we fill it up down here by your house or whatever. Then I always try to put gas in it.
Yeah, I feel like you're not really like trying to be like half and half everything. I just feel like you just try to make it like, I don't know.
It's honestly kind of like how Lindsie has your card, or like if Lindsie needs something, then she just like uses your card. It's like kind of the same. Like if Taylor took if he like, I don't know, if I was like gone and left some cards at home and he was like, hey, like, can I use this card or for something? Like, can I get some groceries? Like, if I want to stop somewhere and get Cinnaholic, I'll stop, get it. And like, I'm not like, hey, I pretty much just take care of myself. If I need gas, I get gas.
Right.
Like, and then when he's around and offers, I'm like, great. Like, that's cool. Thanks for realizing that you use my gas too.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I just don't really view it as like such a
right. Like,
I'm
you
just
have
like,
to,
I
like
take
it
care of
has to be
myself,
like
and then
this
we
equal
take care
thing.
of each other.
Yeah.
So.
And Meg brought up a good point. Like, obviously, we don't plan on breaking up or anything, but it's different when you're married because you have to go through it legally, and like any debt you take on and whatever, you have to split it. But like, if we broke up and we had a joint account with, X amount of money in it, then it would be like, well, how the hell are we going to split this up? Like, are we just going to cut it down the middle because we don't have the state to tell us?
Right.
Like, we just have to decide,
It's interesting.
So that definitely is a kicker right there.
That makes sense totally.
Because...
But I mean, I feel like even if you get divorced, I mean, you could use like, oh, well, this is my account. Like, why would... But I don't know how divorce works. Like, does it... like, if you get divorced, like, would you each just get half of whatever?
Well, it takes on... You have to... If you have assets and debt... Because any debt you take on, like, you have to... I mean, you can go to a person and help you determine how to do it. But, like, if you have $100,000 in debt, like, technically you're supposed to split it. And, like, that goes on your credit. But, you could trade it for, like, I get the house.
Yeah.
And I'll, like, take the debt or whatever. Like, I don't really know how it all works. But if you're not married, then it's like, well, I took this on under my name, so it's all my debt now. Like, this payment's mine, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I say if you're watching this, comment joint account or separate account.
Comment joint.
I was thinking that just comment joint, but then I was like, YouTube might flag us if we get a bunch of comments about joints.
Joint account.
Yeah, I'm curious because we've only had a pool.
Yeah.
That's how we've always done it. So, cool. And I think that's it, right? So, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, someone commented on one of our posts and was like, I watch every episode, and then said a comment.
Us feel really good.
Makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
So big thing that would help is subscribe if you haven't already, and like the video. That helps as well. And share this podcast. Like, if you feel like someone else would relate or find it beneficial, share it with them and help us grow this. So other than that, thank you guys so much. Seriously. Like, I've already said it, but we can't thank you enough for supporting this podcast and just continuing with us along this journey. So until next Monday, have a great remainder of your week.
See ya.
Bye-bye now.